Welcome, everyone, to Bezerra Spiritual Healing in our Sunday service. As with all of our online activities and in-person activities, we begin every session with prayer. Today, our sister Regina will lead us in prayer.
So join me as we close our eyes and let us say hello to our Heavenly Father and Mother God. Let us say hello to our Lord Jesus Christ and to your mentors. We give thanks to you, Heavenly Father, for allowing us another day, opening our eyes and getting us started with the sun shining, nourishing us, and providing us what we need. We give thanks to all the invisible beings who work with us and pray with us and guide us through our success. We ask you to bless our opening of our service today, Father, and cleanse us all from evil thoughts. Allow us to be compassionate, opening our hearts and minds to accept the message that is coming before us today. May you bless us to be generous, kind, and compassionate throughout this day. As we ask for you to bless the opening of our service. In your name, so be it.
And so it is. Thank you, Regina. BSH is a nonprofit 501c3 registered in the state of California. We are a non-denominational spiritual grouping, and we welcome all beliefs and faiths and participants, for we are all here for the same purpose, and that's to improve on a daily basis and help our fellow humans and the planet. Every Sunday session begins with a series of introductions of what BSH is all about and general overview of Spiritism, and then an introduction of our actual speaker for the day. So on the website bshcenter.org, on the events tab, which I'm unable to display, there is a listing of all the various things we do online. We are not meeting in person currently, but we do meet online. And this is our regularly scheduled Sunday meeting. Tonight at 6 o'clock begins an every night event lasting up to 15-20 minutes of prayer. And all are welcome to bring their prayer requests, their prayers of gratitude, and whatever else they'd like to contribute to the spiritual essence of group praying. Following every one of those sessions, Monday through Thursday, BSH hosts a book study. On Sunday night, we are completing the book study of The Messengers. And next week, we will begin a new book study on, I just lost it. Help me, someone. Oh, well, it's on the website. Pardon me, Teresa. We begin a new book study, and so all are welcome to join, and that book study will take us page by page right through the book. On Monday nights, there's again, open to everyone, the prayer service at 6, but at 6:30, solicitation only, the BSH mediums are there for education and the application of mediumship. On Tuesdays, in conjunction with Divine Light, following the prayer service, we will continue the book study, The Consoler. On Wednesday night, following the prayer service, we will continue the book study of the Kardec book, Heaven and Hell. And we are getting close to the completion of that one as well. On Wednesdays, by special arrangement, if any of you desire one-on-one fraternal counseling, we are able to offer that. Just drop a note in the chat session if you desire something, and one person will get back to you to set that schedule up for that Wednesday. On Thursdays, BSH leads a book study. Help me, Regina.
Living Spring.
Thank you.
Sundays is Missionaries of Light or something.
Oh, Missionaries of the Light, the new book. Yes, thank you. Okay, again, it is on the website, and we will continue to include those in our newsletters as well. Fridays and Saturdays are open to everyone to pursue their own style of spiritual education and/or application of charitable activities. And that is a summary, real quick summary. Again, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop them into the chat session, and one of us will get back to you. So we now move to the formal presentation of today's session, unless I've missed something. I don't think so. And today's speaker is longtime member of BSH. It is Brian Abeel. And I could regale you with wonderful history of Brian, but let me just say that he is living the daily dream from a spiritist standpoint, communicating on behalf of the earth and nature. Brian works for the state of California in a disaster preparedness and cleanup mode. And so he is traveling all over the state following fires and other similar types of devastation. Brian, I did not even look at the title of your presentation today. I was just so thrilled that you were here in person. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mark. And if you had read it, then I'd have to jump in a cold pool so I could remove my ego. Something that Spiritism teaches us, but that's for another lesson. Let me go ahead and pull up the presentation. Let me go to the slideshow. Okay, I imagine you see the presentation now. Okay, and you can hear me okay. So
Yeah.
I've actually minimized my screen so I don't see any of you, but feel free to speak up at any time because this is a presentation to share our thoughts because as we know, Spiritism, one of its tenets is philosophy. So we have to think about it and talk about it because that's how we learn and also share our experiences. So this presentation today is exploring Metempsychosis, Insights from the Spirit's Book, Book 2, Chapter 11, questions 611 to 613, Spiritual Rebirth, Philosophical Exploration. And the exploration will include this agenda. We'll have a little overview of Spiritism and the Spirit's Book, the key theme in Spirit's Book, Book 2, Chapter 11, prior to metempsychosis topic. We'll get into the comparison of that with reincarnation, talk a little bit about historical and cultural perspectives on metempsychosis, reincarnation, get into the analysis, questions 611 to 613, and then have a conclusion. And once again, you're all invited to share your thoughts throughout the presentation. Don't hesitate. So, overview of Spiritism. It's always good to touch base with basically what are the fundamentals, the tenets of Spiritism. And as we know, the triple aspect approach, scientific, philosophical, and religious, and that allows us to understand our true nature, origin, destiny, and the worlds around us. It allows us to take a look at what we're learning at all angles and discuss it, share our experiences, and also follow a deep spiritual, moral road. Fundamentals, of course, existence of God, supreme being, all-knowing, the creator of all things. There's existence of spirits and their survival after death, reincarnation, which we'll get into with metempsychosis today, and multitude of inhabited worlds, and communication with spirits, which happens throughout Spiritism. And that's what happened with the Spirits book, as we all know. Spirits book, one of 5 books written, authored, and published by Allan Kardec. Spirits book was published on April 18th, 1857, and provides the foundational text in Spiritism. In general, it compiles Spiritist teachings through mediumship, received through mediumship, offering insights into God, creation, the nature of spirits, life, the afterlife, and the spiritual laws. And it does lay the groundwork for understanding our soul, your soul, spirit, journey, and moral responsibilities that go along with that journey so that we can elevate ourselves to a state of purity. I welcome you, as I think all of you have. You've read all of these books and reread them. And there are other books written by wonderful psychographics like Chico and Divaldo and others who further pontificate with the assistance of the spirits of what life is all about for us and our journey, and how we live that journey, how we should live that journey, and the laws that are universal. So, key theme in Book 2, Chapter 11 of the Spirits book begins with the questions before 611, talking about the natural world, and it focuses on the 2 to 4 divisions. Material perspective classes, 2 classes, inorganic and organic. And let me get back to my notes. So as we know, if we take the scientific approach, inorganic and versus organic, organic has the carbon and the carbon-hydrogen bond, and organic has been imbued with life. Now, if we look at the moral perspective, we have 4 classes. We have the mineral kingdom that possesses mechanical force only, not endowed with life. That begins with the plant kingdom. And then moving beyond the plant kingdom, we have the animal kingdom that as plants, they're endowed with life, but then they have a limited instinctive intelligence, giving them the consciousness of their existence and individuality. But as Spiritism teaches that doesn't carry over into the afterlife, that is something that occurs with the human beings because of the superior intelligence that has been provided that goes beyond just the instinctive intelligence. It is a rational intelligence, and it allows us to become aware of that there is a future beyond this lifetime, the future beyond Brian, another life, another body, perception beyond the physical realm with the communication with the spirits, and knowledge of God. You know, we read this book and we read the other books with Spiritism, psychograph books. And, you know, if we take it like going to church and just listening to the Bible, and we take the Bible as it is, for me, it's kind of hard. I've always been one that I've had to go out and experiment. I needed to live what they were talking about. I needed to have certain experiences in my life that allow me to align with these ideas. And I'm sure to some extent all of you have as well, and maybe even beyond me. And that's what actually caused us to have an affinity to come to this group, to be a part of this discussion and other days of discussions, so that we can elevate ourselves as we're meant to be, through moral transformation. So metempsychosis, reincarnation, comparison. Right, as on the screen, you see the definition. And basically, metempsychosis defined as we do migrate to different bodies, and it does include humans and animals, depending on the culture and the era of civilization. It could be human to animals, or just human to human and animal to animal, plant to plant. That's something left to discussion, the spirits, through the spirits book and the other books, and also the psychograph books, as well as beyond spiritism. There's a great book called Many Masters, Many Lives. I forget who authored it, but it's about a psychologist who works with his patients, and he taps into them, trying to find what is hindering them, what's blocking them in this life. And through that, he's able to take them back to a previous lifetime, to unlock that block. And then they begin to elevate themselves within the life of that they are in, where they have been working with this psychologist. Reincarnation explained, that too, from era and civilizations, can be thought of differently. Basically denotes rebirth and varies in interpretation across different cultures worldwide, and the span of time from one era to another, as well as from one civilization to another. Basically, rebirth of a soul into a new body. Historical and cultural perspective. Boy, we could spend a lot of time on this slide alone. On metempsychosis and reincarnation, what it means from one civilization, one culture to the next throughout time on Earth. Philosophical roots, these concepts are rooted in ancient philosophies. We had the Egyptians, we had the Indians, the Hindus, we had the Greeks, we had the Buddhists, we had the Catholics, the Christians. And with that, we had individuals in each of those societies. We had Pythagoras and the ancient Greek, who believed multiple gods, soul immortal, and continued to exist, the soul, beyond a single lifetime. Based on his experience, he had life regressions, like all of us have life regressions, and also communication with spirit that forms our thoughts about what metempsychosis and reincarnation, and with each civilization, there has been an evolution of understanding, and the spirits have come in the 1800s, working with Allan Kardec for spiritism, as well as psychograph through other spiritists, to pontificate further of the message of really what metempsychosis is, and what the reincarnation is, and what our responsibility is for the life that we're living right now. Each of these, the Greeks, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Catholics, they're all influenced in succession. One builds on top of another. That's known. It's spread by communication. Notions of both the metempsychosis and reincarnation. The Greeks heavily influenced the Christian theology, shaping notions of spirituality in the afterlife. We too, as we navigate in this world, we are having our own experiences, not only from reading past history, but currently just living our day-to-day lives and having the unseen appear in our life, having the spirits communicate with us, and becoming and to understand those communications, and putting them into relation to what we're learning, like learning here today, so that things do make sense. And that, in a way, you think about it, we're on a scientific journey ourselves through our experiences where we validate a lot of what we're reading in the Spirit's book and the other books and other psychographic books. And we come here, we talk in these presentations to pontificate, to philosophize on our experiences and the messages and kind of, try to put things in some type of alignment with one another so that we can raise ourselves on this spiritual journey, this purity that we're on. And each one of these beliefs has a different thought on how we, what it takes to reincarnate from one body to one world. And the Hindus believed it was due karma. And the Greeks did believe on, you had to you had to be a good person. The Buddhists, you have to be respectful of others. And we can go on with all the other cultures and times and era. But basically, if you look at it, there's a common theme. It's about being good. And what is good? Well, Spiritism teaches us that to be good is to know thyself, treat others as we wish others to treat ourselves, as us, and try to live morally, try to do the right thing, not lie, be respectful of others, be loving, charitable, without expectations. And doing that, we can elevate ourselves from one life to the next. So, Spirit's Book, Book 2, Chapter 2, Metempsychosis, questions 611 to 613. A question that is proposed is the common origin of the intelligent principle of living beings part of doctrine metempsychosis? And just here for the quick bullets, and we'll have a little further discussion here or share, or if you guys want to speak up, I will. Two things can share the same origin and no longer resemble one another at a later period in time. Think of trees, leaves, flowers, not recognizable in the shapeless germ within the seed it is sprouted. That's the simple one for plants. But remember, they don't have that intelligent principle. They have that instinctual principle of survival. When the intelligent principle reaches a degree of development necessary to become a spirit, that's a transition from the animal to the human, as the spirits teach us, and enters the human phase, it has no more relationship with its primitive state. And humans is no longer the soul of a primate, as the tree is no longer a seed. So in the human phase, there is that animal-like body and passions that result from the influence of the body combined with self-preservation like the animal. Also self-preservation like the plant, that are intrinsic, to all matter. But there is this point when it transcends into just not instinctual, but it's intelligent principle, and that is the human phase. That goes from one life to the next. I would like to think that my cats live on, and I'll talk about a little bit about that, and that they can, how do I say it? They have the remembrance of past lives like we do, like when we do our life regressions. But there is some debate on that, and Spiritism tells us that they don't keep that individuality. I may be stepping a little farther into the question, so let's just move on. So here we are, question 612. Can a spirit that has emanated a human body incarnate in an animal? That is the question about metempsychosis. And here comes the difference from that to reincarnation. No, because this would be regression, and spirit never regresses. And there was an earlier question in the Spirit's book, question 118, talks about, can spirits regress? And no, they learn they learn what has impeded their progress as they advance. When spirits finish a trial, they learn the lesson of that trial and never forget it. They can remain stationary, but they never regress. Think about our lives here as how many times we've had to learn the same lesson, and as soon as we learn the same lesson, we move on. That's within the one life. But the idea, the message from the spirits is that we never regress. We don't go from animal to human, and then from human back to animal. Though I had an interesting conversation with my wife last night because I wanted her to provide me some input. And as a lot of you know, my wife is from Japan. She does have a heavy Buddhist influence. And in Buddhism, someone who is human can go back to animal form. But if they go back to animal form, it's usually it's their belief that it happens because they did not live true to what they're supposed to do, is be respectful of others and live a moral life. And that's a form of punishment and judgment. Question 613. However flawed the theory of metempsychosis may be, could this doctrine be a result of intuitive collection of different lives of human beings? And the spirit responds, yes, but as in most cases of their intuitive ideas. In this theory and many others, humans have distorted it. Let's just think about that for a moment. How many times I can speak for myself that in doing the rescue work with BSH, Bizarro Spiritual Healing Center, and a lot of you, I had doubts, or not. I'm going in a different direction. What I'm trying to say is, we get a message from a spirit, and then we begin to analyze it. And then if we tell what the message is, if we just keep analyzing and trying to break it down, rather than just allowing it to come through us and be told as it's coming to us, then we can really come to the true understanding of what that message is. But we like to wrap ourselves around things. We like to understand them in depth. But perhaps that's a good thing. And Spiritism invites philosophizing on the messages. They ask us to go out and experience the messages, test the messages, because as we find in Spiritism, the truth of the spirits that they're what they're telling us holds over time. The other message in this question, to answer to the question, is which is true: the progression of the soul from a lower state to a higher state, in which it acquires the new development that transforms its nature. As soon as it's experienced what it has in each stage, it just keeps going to a higher stage, and doesn't regress. And no, animals do not transmigrate directly into human and a human into an animal. Some can debate this the other way. We invite all denominations. We're non-denominational, so we can have people within Spiritism that bring their own thoughts, their own ideas, that have been molded from their past lives as well as this current life, that may not be a part of Spiritism, that still can think, that this might take place. And who's to say who's right or who's wrong? But as we move along in our journey, the truth will unveil itself. So what degrades human beings is the use of their God-given free will. When we begin to separate ourselves from God and think of ourselves as God, and knowing we always need to remain humble to understand the messages that we're receiving in the Spirit's book, as well as the other books that Allan Kardec authored and published, as well as all the psychographed books on Spiritism, as well as beyond Spiritism. Let's move on to the next question, 1613 continued. So, of course, questions about the origin of the spirit encompass the origin of all things and God's secret designs. And human beings are not meant to fully understand them and can only form more or less probable hypotheses and theories in this respect. We don't know everything, nor do the spirits know everything. They're providing us what they know. There are some spirits who are wayward, who want to speak to us, and we have to decipher what's the true message and who's truly trying to speak to the heart and to help elevate us, and who's not. So we always need to question the answers to these questions, but sometimes we can overanalyze things, and also misguide ourselves by how we're living our lives. So we always need to remember, and this gets off the question, but kind of with the question, is think about what you eat, think about how you think about what you do during the day, how you interact with other people. It's something that you should think about when you wake up in the morning, how you can be in service and how you put your head down at night. Have I been in service? Have I been in self, or have I been selfless? Have I been a taker or a receiver, a giver? So we can put things all in perspective, because that's what our journey is all about in order to elevate ourselves. Some can say, well, this is debatable, and some may not believe in that. That's for them, for their path. Your path is different from my path, but we're all here together, eventually going to learn the same truth. And the truth will keep unveiling itself as we begin to keep elevating ourselves and freeing ourselves of that self, that ego. And as we do more of these slides, if we were to look at them again, would have a deeper meaning, a deeper truth. So human beings are not meant to fully understand them and can only form more or less probable hypotheses and theories in respects. We can only grasp so much knowledge. The spirits know that. God knows that. But as we go from one life to the next, and we live that pure life, that moral life, and also make restitutions from one life to the next, we become freer and lighter, and we have less baggage in our soul, and we can take in more information, a greater depth of the truth. And just think of your own life here, and how things have unveiled themselves. You think of one experience one way, and then years later you think back to that experience and you see it in a whole different light. Maybe it's a relationship with a parent, maybe it's a relationship with a child, maybe it's a relationship with a coworker, or how you treated your animals, or how you drive down the road, or respect the laws of the road. So they go on, and this is why all spirits do not think alike with regard to the relations that exist between humans and animals. We all have our different way of thinking. We all have our different experiences, and we try to wrap that all together to have a greater understanding of what it is. Who am I? Who are they? The different species of animals do not intellectually proceed from one another by progression. Each species is a physical and moral absolute, and each individual draws a sum of the intelligent principle that is necessary from the universal source, depending on the nature of its body and the work it has to accomplish in nature. I try to just take the important points that I thought. Now, if you were to read these questions, something else might pop out at you, but this is what popped out at me. And a lot of these thoughts and how we look at metempsychosis and reincarnation and how we move from one life to another over the eras, over the cultures. There's some similarities and differences, but each one is built on top of each other. Let's think of the animal, though. The intelligent principle is restored to the general mass at its death. That's a question. Spiritism and other religions, they have a different viewpoint on that. I'd like to think that my cats survive on. They know their individuality. I've had experiences that leads me to believe that that happens. Maybe I'm incorrect, but I must remain humble and be able to take on more information and not be so judgmental, so that I can listen to the more of what the spirits have to say, more of what you have to say, more of your experiences, because your experiences bring me experiences of greater understanding of what the truth is. But of course, I build these relationships with these animals that are in my lives, and I'd like to be able to have them and see them in the past and in the spirit world. One thing to note is that with the rescue work with Bizarro Spiritual Healing Center, there have been sessions where we've experienced spirits who were wayward, who needed our assistance, and they did find the assistance with the spirits that were waiting for them through the channeling that was occurring through us in our sessions. And I remember one spirit who was feminine at that point. And she saw her animals that she cared for in her life. And it made me think, hey, they do live on. They do have this individuality. But, I have to remain humble. Maybe I'm not getting it. Or maybe I am. But we can't judge each other. We have to judge ourselves and remain humble for the message of metempsychosis and reincarnation to unfold for us. That's what we're trying to do here today. And I hope after this presentation, you can have a greater thought of what it means to you and go out in the world and expand on that thought so your knowledge can expand for yourself and your place in this world. We're going to continue here on 613, and I believe we have 3 more slides, so bear with me here. At 10:39, I think we're doing really good time here. So as we know, there's through Spiritism, there's beings from worlds more advanced than ours, are also distinct races that correspond to the needs of those worlds and the degree of advancement of the individuals who live there. In Spirit book, question 188, if we go back to that, do spirits inhabit special worlds, or are they in universal space without being attached to any specific planet? Pure spirits inhabit specific worlds, but they are not confined to them as people on Earth. They possess the higher power of instantaneous movement. So as we elevate ourselves, as Spiritism teaches us, that we can inhabit other bodies and other worlds. And other worlds can be lower than Earth or greater in Earth in evolution of the human soul. Some humans on Earth are believed to transcend the limitations within body on Earth. We've had some lecturers who have traveled within this life from this body that they're in and still come back to this body and live this life. Tanya has shared stories of past of doing that, going to other planets, meeting other spirits. Myself, and going to John of God in Brazil, I had an astounding experience where, and I don't know if it was John of God or another spirit, but I was in my third eye and I was in the universe, the stars, and who was speaking to me, I don't know, but a spirit, I believe I know, but the spirit was, follow me and I will take you beyond the stars. And it was a message of, hey, you're on the right path, at least for me. And I needed to learn some more things, and I needed to open myself up to more of the journey that I'm on, to elevate myself. And as I become to understand more of these questions and the answers that the spirits tell us at greater depth. Here I'm just, I'm a speaking voice for all of you. I'm not the all-knowing, definitely not. I got to remember humble. I'm only trying to carry the message. So it's up to you to decipher between the words of these sentences that I'm speaking here today of what all this information means to you in regards to metempsychosis and reincarnation, and wherever you are on that plane of thought, that plane of understanding is right where you need to be. So this is the next to final slide, question of 613. And basically this is going to leave you with hopefully going out after this presentation and thinking more about everything with a question. And you probably will have more questions than answers. But as you live this life, what we're meant to be, to purify ourselves, to live a moral life, to respectful, to live with one another, to be selfless. The answers to these questions can deepen our understanding of what it is. Who am I? So further, they pontificate the spirits on earth. Humans alone possess the soul or spirit, the divine spark that gives them the moral sense, the God sense, extended vision that animals sorely lack. The spark is the principle being within them, pre-existence too, and surviving their bodies and preserving their individuality. So again, the question, what is the origin of the spirit? What is the starting point? Is it formed from the individualized intelligent principle that begins at some stage, I don't know where, it's kind of a blur between the animal and the human. So in conclusion, just to take you beyond even the questions, the soul journey understanding, the Spirit's book offers profound insights into the soul's journey through metempsychosis. There's more to be unveiled in the Spirit's book, and as well as into Genesis. Spiritual progression, teachings highlight spiritual growth as a continuous and meaningful process of evolution from one life to the next. And how we improve ourselves is through moral integrity, how we interact with each other with that moral integrity, how we respect each other, how we help each other, how we're there. We're meant to be together. And inspiration beyond spiritism, these spiritual concepts inspire reflective thought, both within and beyond spiritism communities. So don't hesitate to step outside the door of spiritism into other doors and communicate and socialize and fraternize with others who are in this journey of life, because they have things to share with us, just like each era of civilization or cultures have shared through time, to have a greater understanding, a progressive understanding of what metempsychosis and reincarnation are. So I thank you today to be here, to hear this presentation. And once again, I invite you to think about it and the way that it impacts your life, your soul journey, so that you too can grow beyond your expectations, beyond what you see today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Wow. I'm quite certain there are a number of folks on this call that will comment freely. I just want to remind everyone. Early in my spiritist journey, the importance of Allan Kardec's 5 books was stressed, and still it is the foundation for everything. It was the Spirit's opportunity to say, okay, Earth's humanity is now ready to better understand what's really going on. Well, what's interesting is what has happened subsequently, because that foundation of content, as you identified today, has been supplemented by continued spiritual information. through psychography. And in Brazil, one of the most famous psychographers is Chico Xavier. And in his volumes of psychography, he takes that foundational information and supplements it. In some cases, correcting it literally, because people interpreted certain things differently. But you've now taken that and those three questions in particular and brought it forward with all the psychographic supplemental information as well. So thank you for doing that. But again, it's just a reminder to everyone that the most current information coming through psychography goes way beyond what the 5 books of Kardec did. And of course, we then have all the other spiritual influences from other beliefs, as identificatism, for example. Anyway, fascinating topic, Brian. Thank you so much.
Hey, Brian, thanks so much for wow, proud of you. You brought this together, and it's in our days the topic is very neat because uh, we will say not the ignorance of others is the laziness to learn the truth, no? Because I have heard not just in this country, in other countries. I don't know if you guys, I don't know exactly the word. The youth and even children are saying, I am an animal, and they choose the animal they want to be, and they want to be on a leash. They want to wear clothes like to imitating the animals, and some parents are allowing the children to be. So it is very scary decision. It is growing up right now. Did you hear about that, Charles?
Yes.
So a topic of this should be more over there to clarify the ignorances, of the parents, and to teaching their children, because everything has its evolution and progression, not a regression. Now we can stagnate for a while, but we always will go back to the point to stagnate and move on, no? So it is a very, very, very good topic for our days. And imagine that time. How was that? Why the Spirit brought that topic for that time? Because that is an importance for us. And we question intelligently the Spirit and Allan Kardec putting all this together. It is a lot to review. I would ask everybody to go back to the Spiritist book, putting the questions again over there. And for us, I will do myself. I will review your speak today. And it's a very important topic to us to study it very, very carefully. Thanks so much. I was missing you, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Charles.
You always bring some stuff that is kind of controversial, but important for us to discuss, as Tanya was saying. There are some points that I want to highlight. Is that as Mark said, and Jesus said, that at some point he will be sending the Consoler to clarify, answer all the questions, and that knowledge will stay with us forever. So that is an evidence of a progression, of evolution, that when the Consoler was ready, even though Kardec was the one that transcribed the concept, but the Consoler is not Kardec. The console is the teachings of the Spiritism, which is the truth. And the truth has many facets, has many perspectives. But anyways, this mental psychosis is evidence that of a previous experience, and the present is an evidence of our unity that transcend existence. So is our interconnectivity. So what we experienced in the past stays with us, and we keep evolving. For example, when we started in this process, we started as a mineral. That's the first element. But intelligence was not in the mineral. But in the mineral stage, we learn how to concentrate, how to become one, unified. That's where we are consistent, because we learned that on that period of our existence as a mineral. In the vegetable stage, we learn how to move around ourselves. For example, the blood system comes from the example of the plants that learn. That's our experience, and we transform until we got to that point of animal, where we evolve in different stages, different type of generations in terms of animal. We had to learn something. And after that, we came as a human beings. And after human beings, what's next? Until we get to that point of angelical. So human beings, we're not final yet. We're going to still come to progress and to get to that point of become angelical, which is, I don't know what's in between human and angelical. As Chico said, that the difference between us and angels is just like between us and the animals, right? So that's how we keep progressing. And every culture, like the Japanese, the Buddhist culture, the Native American, the native culture, it has some principles, some spiritual understanding that is part of that process. However, Spiritism comes after these experiences. So we cannot compare, for example, Buddhism with the Spiritism, because Buddhism is older than Spiritism in terms of putting together. So, but basically, our cultural values is a system of beliefs, and each culture has their own systems. So between human and animals, the transition from one stage to another is always gradual. It's never like, oh, today I'll be this and tomorrow I'm it. No, it's progressive. So that's why sometimes some people experience is being stagnated at one level until that phase is completed, until that phase is mastered. So then you can keep moving on. But if I am a human being, I have not mastered something in my other previous existence, I may have to stay here for a while until I learn that experience, and that push me forward. So the process of evolution, spiritual evolution, is the mechanism is called the quintessential process of the matter. So when you talk about quintessence, is that every stage you go to a process where you reach a maximum point, and that point you become quintessential, you become more sublime, and you move on, and that adds you to the next phase. So basically, what I am today is all that I was. So what I am here now is the result of everything that I've been in the past. So that's why in the Spiritism it clarifies that there's no death, it's only life. However, we go in and out of this physical stage so we can really keep moving. But when you say the typical concept of dying doesn't mean that I may cease to exist. My body is interrupted because it needs to move on. However, my spirit is a continuous life, just dips in and out of this physical existence. So basically what I'm saying is that it's very important, as Tanya was calling our attention to, is that we need to really study this to understand it, demystify all these other teachings that is not going to help us to keep moving on. It is important that we keep learning and evolving and contributing to our personal experience, but also to others' experience. So that's my take on it, and I appreciate and I would love to hear other people's input on this conversation. It's very essential. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Brian. That was very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you too, Charles, because that's my take on Allan Kardec's and the spirits that have come together to help form these books and to bring present knowledge for us to continue moving forward. And yeah, I do also want to comment also, Brian, I have read something about people who were abusive, say to animals, extremely abusive, and their spirit had to go and learn what it was like, not to be the animal, but to learn what it was like to be like that animal and be abused. But it was not for them to digress to be an animal. It was a lesson that they needed to learn. But we are here to progress. There's no way in the world I want to be a bird or a worm again, under no circumstances. I mean, being a human is hard enough. And learning these lessons and being sorrowful, regretful for what has happened in my past, and working out why I'm where I am in present time. So my goodness, yeah, moving forward, I'm all about that. Yes. Thank
Regina, even though I love the concept of flying,
you.
love jumping down of an airplane.
Yeah, hey, look, your spirit can
Yeah.
fly every night. You ain't got to get a human. You just can't take your body with you unless you learn how to do it.
I just want to contribute one thing. My sons have clued me in on this worldwide, I guess, phenomenon of I think they're called Furbies. It's this younger generation donning the mask and donning the clothes of an animal. And there's a psychology that goes with it. And the psychology is there's safety in the pack, and I'd rather be taken care of than take care of myself. And I just find that fascinating. Now, I haven't read any of the psychologist's perspective on any of that, but I witnessed it in person down in Las Vegas at a festival that I went to my son with, and it was a topic of conversation for about 20 minutes. I got an eyeful and an earful.
Well,
Thanks.
what's so funny about that is I don't know if you noticed on the one slide for key theme, book 2, chapter 11, natural world, 2 to 4 divisions. There's a picture of Kiki, or not Kiki, Akemi dressed up as a devil cat for Halloween to represent the human. But anyway, sorry, someone was about to talk. Oh, by the way,
That was me, Teresa.
by the way, I just put a song in the chat by Estes Tones. It's called Elemental, Who Am I? It's a really good song. I wanted to make it part of the presentation, but it's 11 minutes. And it's really is a good song to listen in its entirety. It's your choice if you want to, but it kind of touches to this presentation.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Estes songs.
Well, thank you, Brian. As always, I really appreciate your open.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, now I shut my, okay, so now you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So I really appreciate your open-mindedness without prejudice. You know, I think that is, it's very welcoming. And, you know, I once asked someone at a spiritist center who was, you know, he was a part of, he wasn't the director, but he was, you know, a committed member at that center. And I said, you know, he did a lot of presentations. And I said, so could we possibly follow, you know, the spirit from like first incarnation through all their incarnations, you know, development or whatever, creation? And he said, no. And I think he was alluding to just this, because he said, it's one thing that becomes another. So for me, it helped me to let go of the attachment to my personality, that I'm Teresa. No, I'm a spirit, and this is an incarnation. And so it's also kind of along the same lines of, you know, in Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about, you know, like a cucumber and then becoming a pickle. It doesn't go back to becoming a cucumber ever again. But yet it was once a cucumber, but it is no longer a cucumber. It is a pickle. And so, you know, for me, it's a great exercise and practice of letting go of I am not my personality. And I think many of us have a hard time wrapping our head around that, because there can be a lot of attachment, rightly so. I mean, you know, but anyway, I think it's a good topic. And yeah, this whole thing about the animal, I had heard a little bit about this too. And, you know, it's a good thing to always keep an open mind, but remembering that open-mindedness needs to be guided by truth and wisdom. Otherwise, we fall into chaos. And yeah, so, you know, what can I say? That's all I can say. But thank you. And again, nice to see you, Brian.
So
Thanks.
I just put my hands there because Gina brought the topic. I study with Master Shua Sui, all his levels of education and his spiritual level of education in yogi. So one time someone has a question to him about this specific topic, about the evolution of animal. And then he said the answer, he said, what happened with the people who was very aggressive with the animals? So he used example of the bulls in Spain. You know, the toros, they harmed them, and at the end they killed them. Eh? So, you know, his answer was, he said that bull in his evolution, how he was impregnated with when he become a human being, have his individualization of a soul. He said like that. He will be um, a psychopath and will be one of the serial killers on the communities that love do things like that.
Wow.
Because that is impregnate, and the community will learn through that lessons too. And that was so strong because Master Shua Sui, one of the first book he's recommended on yogi, advanced yogi, you believe or not, was the Spiritist book of Allan Kardec.
Mm.
He studied the whole book. So it's all about evolution, no? It's all about evolution.
You know, in a tradition, Native American, Indian, there's a saying that we all have two wolves in our side, a good wolf and a bad wolf. Each one is strongest. And the answer is the one that you feed the most. So that shows exactly that evolution to not just physical, but spiritual and morally. Evolution is know that those directions. So yeah, there's a lot of things to learn from different cultures, that's for sure.
Spiritism, and I don't know where it is. It's like talking about the intelligence principle, when a spirit becomes to know that it's a spirit. But at some point through spiritism, I think about my cats, about being disciplined but loving with them. And I mean, I go up and I adore them. I kiss them, I hug them, and they talk a lot and feel like they're telling me their stories. But it's very important how I interact with them, because it's like owning a house. Do we really own it? We're just a caretaker of the house. And I'm a caretaker of this soul, the soul of an animal. So I'm like a farmer. I'm nurturing this soul, just as all of you are nurturing the soul. So what am I going to give this soul? And besides, I would like to think that this soul of this cat, when it becomes the human soul, that it's going to save me, or it's going to be there for me as I was for them. And that's what Spiritism has done for me.
Well, Brian, maybe you might be a little more elevated than the cat. As time goes on, you may not want to go back so the cat can pay you back. So let's just let everything be in God's hands and, let the right people and persons come in and do what they got to do.
I get it. I get it. You don't want to be a worm.
I don't want you got that right.
Brother Brian, thank you for your nice presentation. And right now that Gina said that, I would like to share with you a poem from a Sufi master who is a Rumi, is known in everywhere in the world. And he says this evolution of the human, or the stages that the human goes up. That is, he says, I died from the earth and I became plant. I died from plant. I became animal. I died from animal. I became human. Then why I should be afraid of dying? After that, I can be an angel. And after angel, I will be there where nobody can see that. That is the stages that human can go. That, as Charles said, sometimes we can we can come back to the other stages. We can be animal. This is within us. All of these are within us. We are all of that. And it depends on in what stage we stay. Sometimes we are worse than the animals. And you see right now, we see many of us. What we do, the animals don't do that. Animals don't kill each other, even only when they have to do that for living more. But they don't save anything, but they don't need. And what we do that. we hate each other, and they don't do that. You see, sometimes we are worse than animals, and sometimes we can go to the angel and where nobody can see. Thank you.
Thanks, Bosun.
If there are no more comments, then on behalf of BSH, a final thank you to Brian for your preparation and your delivery today. You gave us all fuel for the rest of today and the week. Let's take a few minutes break, grab your water, and we'll come back for passes. How do I stop the YouTube recording? I can't do that.
Is I think
No.
I did before. Oh gosh. You go in the three dots.
Yeah, but I don't have
the
option to cancel.
Yeah, but oh gosh, I did before.
Maybe it's because I'm on my phone and not my computer. No, I did before too, but not from my phone. Well, when we kill the session, it'll kill that. Huh.
Yeah, from there you have something there. Oh, I'm sorry.
The option. Well,
Let's we go to
you do.
Mark, hello. Kiki
Oh,
here.
no.
Hey, if you can make me host, please.
If I can make you what? Host?
It
Okay.
says you are the host.
You are the host.
Am I? Okay.